Don't get your panties in a twist about finding the perfect workout app. The workout app isn't what's going to get you to your goals. I haven't switched apps for like 5 years. I don't want to lose anything that I had. I want to still have that customizability and the ability to track, but I want to be able to have a better visualization for tracking my progress. Hello and welcome. We have finally made it. We are officially halfway through the 10-week cut. We are on week 11, day 1. Week 11, we just finished a deload week. That's what I decided to do for week 10. I was feeling in week 8, week 9 was starting to feel my body start to slow down. I purposely kind of didn't shoot for increased weight in week 9. I just focused on form. And then in week 10, I decided to go ahead and deload. So I cut my volume almost in half, 50%, 60% of my reps. I kept the weight the same. And I did do a slight diet break. Today's Monday the 29th, so last week was Christmas week, so we did have some holiday meals that increased our total calorie intake for the week, plus we were at the in-laws the second half of the week. So long story short, I think we ended up like 2,600 calories on average for the week, which I think I'm pleased with. I wanted to keep it around 2,500. We ended up, my maintenance calories are 2,900 calories. So, I did a little bit less work, did probably less steps, more calories than normal. All that said, is probably ended up being close to maintenance calories, which is good for a deload week. I am feeling good today. We're starting a new workout routine today on a new workout app. So we'll talk a little bit about why I chose this app and why I haven't necessarily finalized what workout app I'm going to use. I'll talk about the things that I'm looking for in a workout app, what made me want to switch, why I'm looking for something new, and what my requirements will be for sticking with this app. Yeah. And then, of course, we'll talk about the new workout routine itself. And this is the one that I planned with ChatGPT. So I'd be really interested to see what y'all think about that. Speaking of, let's talk about it. We are doing our first push day. It is still a push-pull leg split. In fact, it's probably more of a push-pull leg split than my last routine, which was push-pull upper body, legs, upper body. This is push-pull and then more of like a light push and then legs and then a light pull. So I switched the generic upper body to be actual push and pull focused. So today it's our heavy push day. So we'll start with regular bench press, shoulder press, seated dumbbell presses. We'll do weighted tricep dips because I love them. Lateral raises for the shoulders, and then we'll finish off with some tricep pushdowns if we have time. That's the other thing it's more workouts than I normally do. I typically do about 4 with 3 sets of 4, and we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're trying to squeeze in a couple triceps pushdowns at the end. So I like to keep my workouts about an hour. We'll see if we can do it. All right, we've got bench press warm up, set 1. I'm still doing the same warm up routine. And my warm-up routine is to do 50% of my working weight for about 10 or somewhere between 8 to 12, 15 reps if I need whatever I need to feel like I'm getting warmed up. I do that twice, so 50%, 50%, and then I do 75% for a little bit less reps. So for today, it'll be probably 6 to 8. And then I do my working set. So today I have 135 put on there. That would be 270 for the working weight. I don't think I'm going to jump right into 270. I don't know if I can do that for 3 sets of 4. So I'm going to hop on my old workout app and see what I was doing the last time I did bench. I want to say it was 255, but I'll double check. Yeah, it was 255, and I'll show you in a little bit. I'll just show you the workout app I was using, and I mean I was able to look and see. It took me a while to find it, but I was able to see what I was doing the last time I did this workout. But there's just a couple other things I wish that it had. I wish it was easier to track the progress over time. And then I'll show you the new app, but we won't be able to really see, if it's doing what we want until, we have a couple of workouts logged. So that's the reason why I'm waiting to commit to an app, because one of the features I'm most interested in is progress tracking over time, and you really can't test that out until you get at least a couple of weeks of workouts logged. So, I mean, you can watch videos and you can look at the website, but I want to actually put it to the test. All right, we've got our second set of warm-up here. Let's get the second warm-up. So the workout app I have been using for the past probably almost 5 years, maybe more like 4. I'll just pull up a screen recording so you can see. It's this Stacked app. Stacked right here at the bottom. And it is free. I love it. It's put out there by Mike Matthews of Legion Fitness. They sell supplements. He's got some books. I started reading his Bigger, Leaner, Stronger book. Like 4 or 5 years ago when I started getting into fitness. It's where I was first introduced to the concepts of calorie tracking, macro tracking, food prepping, and all that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend his books. The supplements website has some really great free blogs, and the app has this feed of their blogs, which are really great free information. Highly recommend it. But this is the app I've been using, and I've got to do this next warm-up set. But then I want to talk about. I'll show you just a little bit about how this app works, what I like about it, and what I wish it did a little bit better. All right, warm up set 3. We've put on 205. I'm guessing that's about 75%. I'll do 7. All right, I've got my working set weight on there. I'm going with 255, and that's because that's the last thing I can find. The thing about it's one of the things I wish I could track a little bit better in this app is my progress. I can't really see the last bench press that I did. I'd have to go back into my history, and I happen to know that it was somewhere in October is when I switched. So you can see this is a dumbbell bench press, so I have to go back maybe a couple weeks. That is also, go back to another push. Here we go. So it looks like that was like only 235 and 245. Yikes. No, that's one too far. I want to say here, we did 245. But I thought I saw one. Yeah, so I did get up to 255 in, October 14th, but it's kind of hard to find that in the app. I wish I could, and I guess finally it pulled up, but this is what it looks like. It's not super intuitive for me. This is looking at my dumbbell bench press, and you can see that I have 95 on here. I've got 85. We're looking at the last 12 months. Let's look at the last 3 months. It doesn't look like it's changing. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I'm looking at. I want to be able to see week by week how much weight I did, how many reps. I'm just not in love with the UI here. This to me is not super intuitive, and sometimes it doesn't load. So I'm out of time, so maybe we'll talk a little bit more about this. But I do need to get going on this first rep if I want to get a somewhat accurate reading for the time that this workout takes. All right, here we go. Set 1, dumbbell bench press. We've got 255 on. Hopefully I'm not overestimating my strength here. And we've got the safety bars just in case. All right, yeah, that felt good. So yeah, going back to looking at the app that I have been using, like I said, it has a lot of the things. I haven't switched apps for like 5 years because it has largely done exactly what I want. One of the things I don't like is like when I do start a workout, if I were to like go in and start my new push day, I can't go back to that screen. Let me just like set that as today. Whoops, didn't mean to deactivate it. Oh crap. Let's just pick one. Activate it. And let's go and start the workout. So if I go in and start the workout, I don't have a way to get back to that page where we saw the progress. And so I'd like to be able to do that while I'm working out, because that's when I need it most. I need to know, what did I do last week? When this pulls up, it will show me, what the bench press was, what the weight was, and what the reps were last time I did it. But that's not always guaranteed to be like last week. So for instance, I haven't done PPL2 I haven't done that. Well, coincidentally, this is the one where I picked up back in October. So, it would happen to maybe work today. But I'd love to be able to just see, each within this workout, I'd love to be able to see, okay, what did the last time I do? Let me start over. When I did this routine last, what were my numbers? And I can't always trust the last one I did, because a lot of times I will do a deload at the end. So I may change the weight slightly, and I definitely change the reps. So I can't always trust the last time that I did this routine. This one, it works because I didn't deload before going to my next routine. So I can see, 255 at 4. Okay, and that's what we're doing today. But yeah, I wish it was a little bit easier to find that information. When I did this routine last, what were my numbers? And I can't always trust the last one I did, because a lot of times I will do a deload at the end. So I may change the weight slightly, and I definitely change the reps. So I can't always trust the last time that I did this routine. This one, it works because I didn't deload before going to my next routine. So I can see, 255 at 4. Okay, and that's what we're doing today. But yeah, I wish it was a little bit easier to find that information. All right, set 2. That was feeling good on set 1. Let's see if we can we push it one more? I don't know. Let's see. We'll leave it at 4. So yeah, I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining about this app. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have used it for like almost 5 years. Okay, it has really done really well for me, and the biggest selling point for me is you can't beat free. You can't beat a free app that does 90% of what you need it to do. So if you are looking for an app, highly recommend this. You can set up personal goals for like specific exercises like bench press and stuff. It can be a little slow to load sometimes, but in my experience, you just exit out of it, pull it back up, and it's good to go. So yeah, overall, I love that this app allows me to program my own routines. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, open up. So you can see some of these are routines that come with it, like this TLS. That's from his Thinner, Leaner, Stronger book. BLS, that came from his Bigger, Leaner, Stronger book. Beginner Strength program. So those are preloaded routines that come in here. So that's great. It also gives you places to start. But then I started adding my own routines, which I love being able to do that. I add my own pull days, push days, and stuff like that, and then I can do my sets and exercises, the different sets and reps and stuff that I'm looking at. So that customizability is chef's kiss. If it doesn't have a specific exercise like standing overhead tricep extension or something like that on a cable, then it's very easy to add that. So that has been great. Let me exit out of here. And then for me, the next step is to find something that does all the things. I don't want to lose anything that I had. I want to still have that customizability and the ability to track, but I want to be able to have a better visualization and easy navigation for tracking my progress. So we'll see if the app that I picked, we'll see if it does that. I don't want to lose anything that I had. I want to still have that customizability and the ability to track, but I want to be able to have a better visualization and easy navigation for tracking my progress. So we'll see if the app that I picked, we'll see if it does that. All right, this is our third and final set for bench press at 255. We did 2 sets of 4. If we get 5 on this last one, that'd be cool, but it's our first week in this routine. We don't want to overdo it either. Five. All right, next up, dumbbell overhead shoulder presses, seated. Last week I was doing Arnold dumbbell presses at 45 pounds, but I was going for like 8 to 10. We're shooting for 6 reps here, so I bumped it up to 50 and we'll see how that goes. All right, that's 10. So the app that I have settled on to evaluate is Heavy. And this is what it looks like when you're in the workout. So I've already done my bench press. We're on shoulder press right now. And then you can see I've got triceps, lateral raises, triceps push down. One of the things I really liked about this app was it had all of these workouts or these exercises pre-entered. So I didn't have to add a custom one. I think within my whole routine, I only had to add a couple of custom exercises. So that's really nice that it already kind of has that knowledge of what the exercises I'm looking to do are. It knows what muscle groups they're hitting, what equipment they're using. So this UI is, I'm still getting used to this as you kind of just check things off as you go. In my other app, it was kind of just a forward arrow, like, yep, done, next. So this is kind of nice though that I could go back and edit any of these numbers as we go. So yeah, the real test for me will be to see, okay, it's calculating volume, that's cool. The real test for me will be to see when we're in the app, or especially when we're in the routine, will it let me see what I did last week? And right now I'm not so sure it will, but at least it'll let me minimize the workout, and then I guess from there I could go. Yeah, so you can see here is what I'm currently doing. Here's the workout. It says no data yet because I haven't logged. But this is the thing that I'm going to be curious to see how it does. And if it doesn't do what I want, then I'll probably cancel, save myself the $2.99 a month, which was another appealing part of this app, is that it was pretty cheap when it comes to the zeitgeist of workout apps. All right, let's get the second set of dumbbell overhead presses, bumping up the weight to 55. That still might be too light, but we're testing it out. Yeah, let's do 8. So, what were my requirements when looking for a new workout app? I really had 3, and then a 4th that is kind of like pretty important. So, the first one was I needed to be able to add custom workout routines. I like to switch up my routine every 8 to 12 weeks, and I like to keep it interesting. I don't like doing just the same thing over and over again. If I'm going to do the same thing over again, I'm just going to stick to one routine. So I wanted to be able to customize my own routines with variant exercises, and I wanted to be able to put those on a schedule, a weekly schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every week. I wanted the app to have built-in exercises. I didn't want to have to add manually every, barbell bench press is with a bar and it's this many, I wanted it to kind of have some of that built in. It works what muscle groups it works. I wanted it to be able to add custom exercises that it doesn't have. I'm going to be doing ankle cuff hamstring cable curls. That might not be, that's kind of like a specialized equipment type of a workout. I don't expect every app to have that. I do expect them to let me enter that and add that. It needs to be able to let me specify my sets and rep schemes. I don't do a lot of drop sets, but if I wanted to do that, I wanted to be able to accommodate that. And then as a bonus, should have a timer. So in fact, and speaking of the timer, my next rep or next set is due. So we'll talk about some of the other points, the other requirements in a bit. All right, last set of dumbbell overhead press. We've bumped up to 60 pounds. We're shooting for 6 reps, and that should be like a hard 6 reps. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, we got a hard 8 reps. These adjustable ones only go to 80. So next week I'll have to figure out if the 6 rep scheme works for me. If I have to go to 85, it's not going to work. I don't think I will. I think 65 or 70 will probably put us there. Got weighted dips. I've got 60 pounds. No, yeah, 60 pounds, 225s on a 10. Probably gonna have to add weight. The target rep for my new routine is 6. I want to say I was doing like 8 to 10 with this last week. Yeah, that's 8. Real quick in between sets. The second requirement I was looking for was an intuitive UI. And what I mean by that is I don't want a cluttered interface that has ads, so no ads. I want it to be a relatively clean look. I like minimalist user interface designs. I wanted it to be easy to find your workout and to start it. So I didn't want to have to be digging through menus to be able to start my menu or to start my workout. And part of that is also loading quickly. I'd rather not have to exit out of the app because it froze, which happens sometimes on this other one. And then I didn't want the app to have a lot of, quote, extras, right? So, I don't need like a social media aspect. I don't necessarily need blogs or videos explaining how to do the app or AI or any of this other stuff. So that's hard to find. A lot of apps these days, that's their selling point, is all the extras. So you'll see that even in the heavy app, it's got like a community aspect to it that I'm just really not that interested in. Maybe if I get some friends who use the app too, it'll be interesting, but I don't really see myself using that much. And then it has some videos, some guides on like how to do the specific exercises. And I'm not really interested in that right now. I kind of know, the form for the exercises that I'm doing. And I guess that would be helpful if I try something new. So it's not a deal breaker for it to have extras. I just prefer for it not to be a ton of them. And I don't want that to influence the price, right? So, all right, let's get our next set of weighted dips. So I've added 10 pounds. We're at 70. We're shooting for 6 reps, 6 heavy. That should feel heavy, close to failure. We'll see. And that was 8 heavy ones, so we'll be adding weight again. The third requirement for my new workout app was to be able to track progress. We talked about this a little bit already, but I want to be able to see week to week how many reps I did last week, what the weight was, and then I also want to see over time. I want to see what the most weight I lifted. I want to see what the least amount. I want to see how much volume, what the most reps, the estimated 1 rep max. Really cool would be to see what is the actual volume, like measured in tons. So, man, in January of 2024, I was doing 10,000 tons a week, and I'm only doing, 9,500 right now. I'm not doing as much as I was last year. That'd be cool. And then like being able to see that in a easy, intuitive way, like a graph. I like graphs. So those are my 3 requirements. The fourth one that I added was for it to be free or cheap. So that's it's almost not even a requirement. It's like a base, implicit requirement. Like I'm not going to spend $20 a month on a workout app. I'm just not doing that. The things that I'm looking for in an app, I already have most of them in the free one that I'm using. So I'm willing to spend a little bit to get a few of those extras, but not a lot of it, if you know what I mean. One more set of these. Let's get this last set of dips. We bumped it up by 5 pounds. I'm running out of steel plates. I might have to go get some more. So we're at 75. We'll see if that feels like a good stimulus at 6, or if we'll have to add the last 5-pounder and then go get I've been meaning to get some 45-pound steel plates for a while, so maybe it's time. All right, here we go. Well, that was 7, so we're getting close. So I'll probably be able to just add that 5 next week. But I probably still should go get those extra weights. All right, we've got lateral raises. We're going for 12, so I've got 20s. Because, yeah, we're at the end of the workout too, so I'm probably feeling a little tired. Yeah, 12 feels fine. Whew. So, kind of talked about what I'm looking for in a workout app. What I did was I just went online and I opened up a million tabs. I just searched good, workout apps, looked at a bunch of different blogs, and every time I found one that seemed interesting, I pulled a tab open and then I looked into them. And I narrowed it down to Gym Logger, which let me screen record here so you can see. I narrowed it down to Gym Logger and Heavy. Both seem to have pretty decent, simple UIs. They're both fairly cheap. The Pro version for Gym Logger is $4.99, and for Heavy I think it's $2.99. So that kind of checked that box. Minimal. Both of them allow you to add custom routines. You can see I did do that for each of these. I've basically added the same routine, this new push-pull legs that I'm doing. Very similar UIs as far as aesthetics go. And both claim to have progress tracking. Now, that will be the thing that I will make or break whether I end up sticking with one of these or the other. So I didn't want to pay for both and try and do both at the same time, so I just started with Heavy because it was $2 cheaper. And the one thing that it seemed to have right out of the gate that was a little bit better than Gym Blogger seems like more community based as far as the development and the adding of apps, whereas Heavy seems like it has more intentional development by like staff or like people working on the app. And the way that stuck out was the actual workouts that you add, the actual exercises. It had more exercises built in as options. That's not a deal breaker for me. I'll be happy to switch apps if this doesn't have the progress tracking I'm looking for. But in choosing which one to start with, that was kind of a leg up for Heavy. But as far as I'm concerned, the vote is still out. After a couple of weeks of logging, we'll revisit and we'll say, is this going to give me the progress tracking that I am looking for personally? Is it going to help me track my progressive overload in a helpful way from week to week, from month to month, from year to year? And if not, then we'll move on. We'll try something else. Okay, second set of lateral raises. Here we go. In a minute, we'll do our daily check-in with our weigh-in and nutrition, talk about last week over the holidays and what those calories look like and stuff. But the last thing I want to say about the workout apps, pick one. If you're looking for an app, don't just take my advice like, oh, he's going with Heavy because it can do XYZ, or oh, he didn't go with that one because it doesn't do that. Find one that you think fits your needs, and you just need to pick one and stick with it, because ultimately you just need to get out of spreadsheets, you need to get out of notebooks, and you need to get into something that's going to be convenient. That's why you would look for an app. Like, if you're already consistent with a journal or a spreadsheet, then you don't need a workout app. You only need a workout app if you need one. If you know what I mean? Like, if it's not meeting your needs, if you're not able to plan your workouts, track them, and progressively overload, right? I don't necessarily need a new workout app, which is why I haven't switched in 5 years. It's been working. The free one has done everything I need it to do. I've had pretty good gains. Like, I've seen good results. It's only 5 years later that I'm finally like, okay, I think I kind of wish that I could track this a little bit better, right? Like, just get to, it's like a car. Like, don't go out and buy a Ferrari when you're, just out of college and you have a starter job. Like, go buy a used car, drive it for a while, meet your needs, save up, find out what you like, what you don't need, how long is your commute gonna be. Like, do you go on road trips? Do you need an electric car, a gas car? Do you need something that can do a lot of mileage? Do you need to do it off-road? You don't know what you need until you do it for a while, if that makes sense, right? You don't know what your pain points are until you work with something consistently week after week. So just pick one. And one of the best requirements that you can put on yourself is just find a decent one that's cheap. I can't recommend Stacked enough. It's free. Sure, it has a few quirks, but guys, I've used it for 5 years and it has worked amazingly well. I track my workouts. I can see progressive overload with from week to week, and it's just, it's hard to beat, guys. So don't get your panties in a twist about finding the perfect workout app, right? The workout app isn't what's going to get you to your goals. It should not be a stumbling block. It should not hinder you. It should not be a point of frustration or friction for getting you in the gym. It should just be something that happens easy, something that you can set it and forget it, and allows you to do the actual work here in the gym. Off my soapbox. Last set, lateral raises. Now I got caught yapping, and I think this workout's going to take just over an hour after we get these tricep pull downs done. But I think that's just because I've been talking a little bit longer. So real quick, let's do a check-in. We weighed in at 193 today. That is down significantly from the weekend. If you look on Friday, 196.7, 196.5 on Saturday, 195.3 Sunday. I went pee so many times yesterday. Like, we sat down to watch Stranger Things because we hadn't had a chance while we were out of town, and I think I had to pause it like at least 4 times because I had to go pee so many times. So I mean, look at that, 2.3 pounds in one evening. It's not fat, it's water weight. The average for last week was 193.5. We knew it was going to be higher. We just take that as information that's really not helpful information at this point. We're just going to focus on hitting our macros and our nutrients this week, see where we end up, and really hopefully we get back down to a baseline. For me, a good goal would be to get back down to week 9 weight, 191.3. That would be my goal, because knowing that I am still going to be losing water weight at the beginning of this week. And so really week 12 will be the first week that I will look to maybe see some progress. That's when week 12 will probably be where I will look to get to I would like to be under 190. So we'll see. If by week 12 we're not under 190, I'll start making some adjustments, because then we'll be 8 weeks out of our 20-week cut. So that's when I'll look to start adding some cardio, probably. Probably wouldn't cut calories yet, because I'm already pretty low on calories at 1,800, 1,900. First I will just add some cardio. Let me hit this set here, and then we'll come back and talk about calories. First set, tricep pushdowns. All right, so calories, let's just talk about yesterday to start out. My goal with Saturday and Sunday this past week was to just get kind of ramp back down. Now, I didn't necessarily have to hit my 1,600 calorie buffer. I just wanted to get back down under 2,000. So I was able to do that yesterday with a decent amount of protein, I might add. 188 grams, almost 10 grams of protein for 100 calories. So I was able to do that with, even with a little cinnamon roll in the morning, a protein bar, and then lunch. That's where I loaded up on, or I tried to load up on protein, and then had a couple of, still had the last Christmas cookie before I threw it away. And then dinner, high protein yogurt, high protein soup, chopsticks, fudge bar. That's where we loaded up on our protein ratio. And then our gum. Saturday, 1,700 calories. So again, was kind of ramping back down. This was kind of hard. It was still at the in-laws, so we had some scrambled eggs for breakfast. For lunch was leftover Mexican. and a protein yogurt. And then dinner was, luckily they decided to do just rotisserie chicken. So I was like, great, love it. I'm going to load up on that, a salad, a couple of small rolls, good to go. And then a couple of Christmas cookies and a David bar to end the day. And I won't necessarily go into the rest of the week here. I'll just show it in the calories. So you can see Wednesday, I think I've already talked about this in another video, but Christmas Eve, I just loaded up. I had a good time. I didn't really worry about, I did track everything, but I didn't worry about restricting. So that's where we ended up, 4709. Christmas, I was a little bit more restrained. I didn't hit all of my holiday, rules of thumb, 1 plate, high protein. I kind of did that, but I just, again, I let loose a little bit. Had some more like dessert. Really, what it comes down to is had more dessert than normal. Friday, got it back under control. This is what I would recommend for a typical high calorie day would be to try to stick under maintenance, which is for me is 2,900. So Friday was more realistic of what I like to see for a quote high calorie day during a during a cut. And then, as I said, Saturday and Sunday I was just trying to get back to close to baseline. Monday and Tuesday were better days because I knew that the rest of the week was not going to be. The average for the week was 2,621. So as I said, just over 2,500. That was my goal, was to shoot for around 2,500 calories. So that's enough for me to feel like I had a good time. It's a bit of a diet break, coming from 1,900 calories. That's 700 more calories on average per day. So between that and the deload, I'm feeling good this week. I was able to come back in and do 255 on bench press. When the last time that this last routine I did was, sure, it was dumbbell bench press, but it was lower weight, higher reps. So to be able to come back in at 255 for 3 sets of 4 means that my body is feeling good, and hopefully I'll kind of be able to keep it at that or slightly increase that over the next 9 to 10 weeks. But yeah, the plan is to just for today try to get down to 1,600 calories. And try to keep this week at 18 on the lower end. I'd like to keep it to 1,800 calories or less for the average. I want to allow my body to have less sodium, less carbs, and get rid of this excess water weight, so that when I come to week 12, I'll be kind of like down to a good baseline. I'll have good accurate measurements for week 12. And week 12 will be a really good, okay, this is actually where I am. Do we need to adjust up or down? All right, one more set of these. Last set, here we go. Alright, workout's over. How about a quick physique update? I don't really feel like we're going to see a lot of visible progress from last week to this week, just because I'm still holding on to a lot of water weight. I'm at 193. I think realistically my body should be at closer to 190, so I think I'm still going to have quite a bit of water weight. But I'll stop making excuses and I'll just let the pictures speak for themselves. using